I still really believe in the 10,000 hour rule. That means if you do anything for 10,000 hours, you can master the skill. And that means I only have 9,968 hours to go before I kill as a comedian. But I've been a pediatric oncologist since 1990, so I already kill as a doctor. My younger son lives in Brooklyn, and he'll occasionally go to Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn. Here in Brooklyn. Yay. So he'll occasionally go to the open mics to watch, and he tells me the comedians are all in their 20s, the guys all talk about dating apps, and the women all talk about their vaginas. Now, I promise I won't talk about dating apps and vaginas, starting right vagina now, because I'm way too mature for that. But I will talk about poop, because poop is just a fact of life. They taught us in medical school that the whole world is covered in a thin layer of poop. Yes, and it even has a name. It's called the fecal veneer. You're welcome. Now, try not to think about your phone right now. I've been limping for about the past 3 months. I injured myself the Saturday after Thanksgiving. I was really excited to go to Jazzercise and work off all those extra Thanksgiving calories, but unfortunately I tore a tendon in my hip. I know, not at Jazzercise. No, getting dressed for Jazzercise. Because, of course. So I had an MRI, and that showed the torn tendon. I also had a bleed in my soft tissue and gluteal atrophy, which means that my butt was smaller. But only on the right side, and you can only tell by MRI. Now, my husband has been fantastic. He's really supported me through my injury. He showed me this video on Instagram. It was a guy doing exercise video. He thought it could help with my recovery. So I take one look at it and say, ugh, I can't watch that. Too much toxic masculinity. He said, let me look at that. Oh, his baseball cap's on backwards. Right. So you know your man's a keeper when he can perfectly mansplain toxic masculinity. You know what really bugs me is when couples don't want to know the sex of their baby before birth because they want to be surprised. If you have a baby, there are going to be tons of surprises besides just the baby's gender. So let me walk you through some of the surprises we encountered with the birth of our firstborn. First of all, the baby was breech, that meant butt first. So I was going to have a scheduled C-section. For those of you out there who like quinoa and sprouts and natural childbirth stuff, let me just tell you, scheduled C-section is the way to go. Number one, you know exactly when the baby's coming. Number two, no labor. And number three, they don't try to kick you out of the hospital before 24 hours. All true. And then there's another thing about the B word, but I promise I wouldn't talk about it, so you're gonna have to figure that out. For our firstborn, my parents came from New York to San Diego to help, and they stayed with us. So the day of my scheduled C-section, my dad comes out of the guest bathroom and he says, Deborah, he's from New York, there's something wrong with the toilet, it's clogged. So I waddle over to the broom closet, I get the plunger, I unclog a poop-filled toilet. And what do you think my dad says? Thank you, sorry. No, he says, I assume this is a recurring problem. He was an engineer, he thought it was a systems error, not a user error. No, it was a user error. Next, surprise, my dad proceeds to lock his car keys in the rental car. So I hear him on the phone calling AAA for help. And he gives them our address, and the guy says, I can't find that street, could you repeat it? He says, Bradshaw Drive. The guy says, no, I still can't find it. He says again, Bradshaw Drive. I waddle over, grab the phone, and I say, Bradshaw Drive. He says, oh, okay. Got it, we'll be right there. And my dad was so mad. He said, that's what I told him, Bradshaw Drive. Hours later, I'm in the operating room. The doctor cuts the baby out of my uterus, and then he holds it up for me to see my darling, dearest newborn. Think baby Simba, or Michael Jackson with the baby over the balcony. And surprise, the baby pees straight across the operating table into my face. The smart aleck obstetrician says, looks like the plumbing works. And then the anesthesiologist very kindly dries my face, and then he says, those aren't tears of joy in your eyes. So later, my parents come to visit me in my hospital room. My mom's thrilled. So they brought our wedding album, which they decided to hand deliver rather than ship from New York. And my mom leans in with her big heavy purse. It swings forward and it whacks me right in my fresh surgical incision. Right? And what do you think my dad said? Oh, honey, are you okay? That looked like it hurt. No. And then my dad says, Deborah, don't make your mother feel bad. Surprise. Finally, a few days later, the baby and I are ready to be discharged from the hospital. I'm gonna go with my husband in his car, or we're gonna go with my husband in his car. My mom's gonna take her rental car with the wedding album. So off we go. We're strapping the baby into the car seat for the very first time. When out of the corner of my eye, I see my mother put the wedding album on her car, grab her car keys, and drive away. And we watch with horror as the wedding album flies off the roof of the car into the street and is run over by another car. So I turn to my husband and I say, look on the bright side. It's a good thing we took the baby. My mom took the wedding album and not the other way around. Thank